everybody, and welcome into the First of Football podcast. Today is Sunday, December 3rd, 2023. Welcome in on this glorious Sunday. I am Justin Sutton here in Green Bay with my host, fellow co-host, Mike Rosenthal in Milwaukee. What's going on, bud?
Both of us need an emotional Packers win tonight after this disastrous day in football.
That is correct.
The Steelers, the injuries, the pain, the delay, the weather. Today hurt really bad. My neon sign back here fell down, shattered. Fantasy, me and Justin both kind of stink at it.
We think we're good, but we're not, you know.
This week was painful, but there was also some good football being played. A lot of injuries, though, man. Today was injury riddled, and
Murphy's Law type injuries day. Anybody that could get injured did, I swear.
Yeah, I guess let's just start this. Let me just run through this list really quick of some big injuries. Ramondre Stevenson, high ankle sprain. Tank Dell,
brutal.
Fibula fracture. Dude's done for the season.
Horrible to watch.
Who just picked him up in fantasy last week? This guy. That's great. Got 0 points out of him. Amari Cooper just had a concussion this evening. Puka was out, but he came back in. They shot him up with some juice. Derrick Henry was out with a concussion. Kenny Pickett, right ankle. Steelers fans were subjected to the worst quarterback in NFL history. And
Mitch Trubisky, shout
out. Derek Carr, once again, injured. Marquise Brown, a re-injury, like that heel that he's been dealing with. TJ Watt, questionable. His ankle doing some weird stuff. He's not on the official injury list. Minkah Fitzpatrick, first game back for the Steelers in a long time, broke his hand. And then during the extended halftime, got a cast put on it and came back and played.
Didn't
really matter. Didn't really matter. I wish the whole team brought that energy.
Yeah, dude, that's just like energy you don't see anymore in today's NFL. Yeah. But I'm sorry, continue.
That's all I got, man. That's I guess let's just dive into these games here. There were some good games, there were some bad games.
And unfortunately, we got to start with a bad game.
Yeah,
let's start with Steelers here.
The Steelers Cardinals, this game sucked. Yeah, side note, actually, I just got distracted. Apparently the Rams just got a safety on the Brownies, which is good for the Steelers because the Steelers they didn't lay a goose egg, but they were terrible against the Cardinals.
It
didn't help. Their couple, their first march down the field, they looked great. Their next march down the field, Kenny Pickett got injured rushing, and he already had an ankle injury, and then they couldn't stuff it in, and they let the Cardinals come back and score a 99-yard touchdown drive to end this first half. And that was just a dagger. And then having to have Mitch Trubisky come back in. Mitch Trubisky is no Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett's not anything crazy, but man, the Steelers were hitting a stride.
There's a big difference.
They have a short week with a lot of injuries. They need a big bounce back. This game was super weird, man. The injuries, the weather delays, the sequence of events that happened. It was just not a good football game. It's probably the worst Steelers football game that I've witnessed as a Steelers fan in a memorable lifetime. Like,
that's rough.
All the hype going into this, but I'm not putting too much weight on it just because of the fact that we have a short week. And if we bounce back and beat the Patriots, our playoff chances are pretty high.
Which you should.
And losing to the Cardinals, I have way more faith that the Cardinals are a more competitive team than the Patriots. And
I would agree with that statement.
Losing to the Cardinals on the other half of football, the AFC, this loss is not that big of a loss,
Yeah, you lost to a team out of conference, out of division, everything. And I mean, it's painful for you to talk about, but I mean, one silver lining is
James Conner.
I was going to say Kyler looked great. Kyler was looking, I'm not going to say like the best game he's ever played, but he was doing what he could with what he had. They have no Hollywood Brown today. He hit great, dude. The critical throws that he needed to make when he needed to be great, he was great.
He was nice to McBride.
Dude, that throw to Greg Dortch, that throw to Rondale Moore, the one that Rondale Moore dropped, dude, Kyler was on it, man. I was just impressed. I'm just man, I kind of forgot just how good Kyler was. Some of the plays he was able to make, you kind of forget the athlete that the dude is. After him being gone for a year. But yeah, James Conner was a stud too. I mean, he had his nice revenge game. 105 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, the second half, the Steelers gave that game up. They kind of were flat. They
The
were
energy
flat,
was
man.
gone, but
But
it was a big win for the Cardinals, big morale boost. And I mean, hey, dude, Kyler's trying to keep his job. That's big. Every win he can stack, every play he can make, it's big for him.
yeah, I'd be really sad if he wasn't a starter next year for the Cardinals.
I
To be
would
fair,
too, dude. He's
I like
good.
him. Hey, come
I
to
do
Pittsburgh,
too.
buddy. Come to
Oh,
Pittsburgh, dude.
that's a move, dude. If they decide like if they end up, getting up there in the draft and they decide they want to move on, man, that's a dude. I'd
Kenny
give up
Pickett's
whoever
been
you
knocked
got to
out of
give
games
up.
way too many times. I'm
I'd give
sick
up
of.
whoever you got to give up short of TJ
Yeah.
Watt. Anybody they want, take them.
Next game.
Yeah, we were both wrong on that line, by the way, considering Pittsburgh got their lunch handed to them.
Yeah, that bounce back here on Thursday, man. That's what I'm hoping for. Next game we have Colts at Titans, Indy -1. I did not take that line. You took that line. I wish we could call this line a wash because that overtime game, like
wild
game. Derrick Henry being out with a concussion. I was calling it a Derrick Henry Moss game. Derrick Henry, 102 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he left the game with a concussion.
Yeah.
This game would have
not end of the bargain.
Yeah, this game would have not went to overtime. Zach Moss was irrelevant. 19 carries for 51 yards. The sequence of block punts was insane. The Colts were just doing it like it was for fun.
Shout out to the Colts defense and fantasy.
And then on top of that, the Titans intercepting a second or a 2-point conversion after they got a block punt for a touchdown. The Titans intercepted that and ran it back and got themselves 2 points. This was a sweet game. Both these teams, the Colts, I obviously wanted the Colts to lose big time. And I was rooting for Tennessee, but Tennessee just doesn't have it. They don't have a quarterback.
Yeah.
I think
Levis got that dog in him, though. I'll say that. He might, I don't know what he is yet, but he's willing to lay it on the line. He's got that what I almost like that Superman quality that some of these guys have where they are willing to go lay it all on the line any given play. That's pretty cool to watch, dude. He did that helicopter play. Like, that was wild.
Like, I think one thing too, that I think at some point the Titans could have went ahead, but they had Ryan Tannehill taking the snaps for the extra point and they missed one. And somehow the Titans made a field goal to go to overtime with Tannehill holding that ball. With, I think, Nick Folk is their kicker. They were working on the sidelines. They actually like panned over to the sideline there, and Tannehill like grabbed the ball and like rotated it. The laces are like way to the right, and Folk's like, "What are you doing?" Like, turn the laces. But yeah, man, this
laces out.
Yeah, big win for the Colts to keep themselves in a race, dude. If the Colts stay competitive, we're going to see Jonathan Taylor later on.
We are. Yes, we are.
But I mean, they're not. Hey,
dude, their schedule is very manageable too, man.
Yeah.
I think they can definitely go sneak in the playoffs here. That'd be wild, man. Shane Steichen comes in first year. Anthony Richardson goes down, still gets him in the playoffs with Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, dude, they have the Bengals next week, and then the Steelers.
Yeah.
I think they play the Steelers on a Saturday game.
The Bengals are suddenly not so scary without Joe Burrow,
Yeah, and the Steelers are just a big old question mark.
Well, hey, man, I mean, hopefully Kenny can be back in time for that game, because if Kenny's back, I think that's going to be a damn good game to watch. Colts Steelers, I think that'd be fun to watch. But let's move on to a game that was absolutely no fun to watch, and that was Chargers at Patriots. You took that line at LA -5.5, and I did not, and you got it. I mean, it was the exact game that was the exact game I thought it was going to be. I was just banking on New England to be able to make one field goal in this game.
Dude, get right game for the Chargers, man. Get right game for I am nothing but ecstatic to have Austin Eckler on my fantasy football team. 14 carries for 18 yards. Drop passes. This guy is a stud. I can't wait to drop him tomorrow. I cannot wait. Somebody can pick him up. He was a top pick for me. I'm done with this complete bum of a quarter of a running back. This guy sucks at football. He sucks. He's done pissing me off, man. I had Tony Pollard in this bum on fantasy this year. I'm so mad. I'm dropping him. I don't care. He's not worth anything.
Oh my
this
goodness,
game sucked. I hope that the Patriots continue to suck, so that way the Steelers can beat them. But the one thing that you can give the Patriots credit for let me look this up. I think the past like 3 games they haven't let up more than 10 points.
Dude, that defense is real, man.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, the last 3 games, they let up 10 points against the Giants, 10 points against the Colts.
The hoodie ain't lost his fastball, dude. The defense still rocking, and they lost Christian Gonzalez. They lost Judon. Like, that's
but the
crazy.
one big thing this game, their running back Stevenson,
Yeah, that was huge. It looked ugly
that
too, dude. Like
a
he
bad
dropped the ball. It hurt so bad. You could see it on the replay.
a bad offense already, and then you compound that on there. That's not no bueno, man.
No
I'm
bueno.
not. Yeah, that sucks, dude. That sucks. You have, I guess, yeah. I took that line. You didn't.
Yeah.
That kind of made us even from the last game, but I don't really have much else to say besides the fact that the Chargers are questionably bad. I wish that they were better. I wish that they were fun to watch with a stud Herbert and like.
I think the
Like
Chargers are dangerously close to fumbling the bag with Herbert here, man. Like they have Keenan Allen right now. What's Keenan Allen going to be like next year and going forward? He's already, an older guy. It's like
yeah, how old is he? Is
Mike
he
Williams is an older guy too, and now he's going to be coming off an ACL.
and Palmer too?
Eckler is old. He's washed, clearly.
They're not bringing him back.
They're not bringing him back. Quentin Johnston's a bust. Like, he never had to play the other side of the field in college, so
And Joshua
he
Palmer
doesn't really know
injury.
how to play the position. Yeah, it's like I worry about Herbert, man. Like I honestly wonder, like, what are they going to do? Like this is a really good wide receiver draft coming up, and you better do something to get Herbert some weapons here, because it's one of two
Yeah.
things. You get all the talent around the guy while he's on his rookie deal, or if you have no money, just draft all your talent. You know what I mean? It's like, keep them on their cheap rookie deals. That's simple as that. But
Yeah,
I
Herbert's getting that
digress.
Philip Rivers treatment.
Yeah,
Herbert's gonna lay a bunch of stats and never win anything.
yeah, I was going to say I digress to the other side of the ball there on the team that doesn't have a quarterback and desperately needs one, dude. That's New England, man. Like, at this point, they're like Drake May or bust. Like, they're kind of hoping Carolina starts winning games, like we talked about before, so that way they can hopefully sneak in there for Caleb Williams. But
Yeah,
let's move on here to the next game. That is Lions at Saints. That was Detroit favored by 4.5. We both took that line, and we were both correct. Detroit was, man, they came out
actually
red
no,
hot.
3. Oh yeah, 5. Yeah, they won by 5. Yeah, I was really bummed that they didn't use Jahmyr Gibbs more. But man,
Yeah,
it
me
was
too. As someone
and
who played against Montgomery in fantasy.
yeah, and I also have Jared Goff, but when you're up like 21-0, 6 minutes into the game, every game plan goes out the window. And the Saints, man, I'm glad I have Alvin Kamara on fantasy because he just eats it up. But Derek Carr, I mean, can they give this dude a starting role next? Is this dude going to be a starting quarterback in the NFL next year?
I can tell you, I'd rather have Baker 10 out of 10 times over Derek Carr right now.
Man, like,
I think Baker's getting an extension. Derek Carr might get cut, dude. Like, this is crazy.
The biggest question mark of this was the Lions kind of letting the Saints come back into this game. They really
their defense sucks. That's what it is.
They have terrible pass defense.
I don't know what it is, man. Like, they only look good in spurts. Like, they looked good at the beginning of the year, then they really fell off. And then they got hot for another game, like literally one game, and then they went right back to being shit. And it's like, just like this game, the offense came out swinging. Mike Tyson, 21 points in the first half of the first quarter. Like, that's bonkers. The defense held the Saints to no points until what? Right before halftime. So it's like, their defense can look good in spurts, and then all of a sudden, second half, they come out lethargic, guys out of position. You know what I mean? Like,
they're up.
You don't see hats swarming the ball. Like,
they were up 24-7 at halftime.
Yeah,
and then you look at this final score, you're like, what are you doing? But hey, one big shout out to this game, Sam Laporta. This dude's an up and coming stud, man. Yeah. Well, I don't know if he's even up and coming now. He's here. This dude's a stud.
Dude, I think kind of the new tight end regime is here, man. Like, you got Travis Kelce looking pretty old. Mark Andrews is 28. He's not all that old, but he's kind of old, and he's getting injured a lot more often. So it's like, dude, Dalton Kincaid looks good. Luke Musgrave looks good. This kid, Laporta, looks insane. Cole Kmet looks pretty good this year, and you got to wonder what Cole Kmet would look like if his quarterback play was better.
Maybe drafting one.
Yeah, maybe. It's like, so, I mean, it used to be like Kelce and Andrews and Ertz, and like now it's like those guys are kind of starting to fade. We'll see what Mark Andrews looks like next year after this injury. But
my last shout out
yeah,
for
let's
this game.
digress to
My last
back
shout
to
out
the
here
game
is
here.
Taysom Hill being the leading rusher of the Saints.
You know, I really thought about picking him up and starting him at tight end this week in the league, and I just couldn't do it ultimately because I like the option I had better.
Yeah.
But
my
yeah,
option was Mark Andrews, and he's no longer with us.
Yeah. He is dead in the fantasy world. I had George Kittle, so I just rolled with that.
That was a good choice tonight, right?
Yeah, it was all right. Like it was definitely was not disappointing, that's for sure. But anyways,
so we both took that line. We both got it right.
Yeah, that Lions game was actually pretty fun to watch too. You know, the Saints coming back kind of made it interesting for a while there, but ultimately New Orleans go to New Orleans. I think Dennis Allen is out there as the coach after this year. I don't know about you.
I agree. No doubt.
Moving on to another coaching question. Robert Saleh of the Jets. Yeah, Falcons, Jets, Atlanta -2.5. I mean, just the disappointment is so real here for both of us, as you can tell.
It's always in reach. It's like always like there. But
it's always once again, they started freaking there.
Once again, they start another quarterback. Like, why did we were texting about this earlier?
Oh my God, it's criminal now. That looking back at this,
look at Joey Flacco tonight. Yep. Absolute stud. If you could just get a little competency, man, and it's just showing. Like, it's wasting a season of Aaron Rodgers, because if they had somebody competent in there to put them in the playoff hunt,
everyone on that team, it's wasting a season of everyone.
Yeah.
Dude, Joe Flacco to Garrett Wilson would have got them to the playoffs this year.
Yeah, especially the way that defense has been playing. They just need a little competency. The Falcons continue to stink, and they need to dump the ball off more to Bijan.
Dude, that safety in the end zone when they tackled Bijan, he got popped and just hit the deck. That was great, man. Like, I love Bijan, but dude, that Jets defense was yet again fun to watch today, man. I'm with you though. Bijan needs to touch the ball more.
Yeah, I mean, he was the leading rusher, and I think he got more touches than Algier, which is good. It's a step in the right direction, but I mean, there's not a whole lot of weight about this game with the Falcons only scoring 13. It completely makes sense with a stud Jets defense and no points scored, because the Falcons defense isn't awful and the Jets offense is awful. So this game we both had a little bit of more faith once again in the Jets, but it failed. But regardless, this game really, I mean, I guess it kind of matters because the Falcons are in a playoff hunt, but
they're going to blow it. Let's move on. Dolphins at Commanders here. Miami -9.5. Yeah, you were smart enough to take that line. I was dumb enough to think that Sam Howell and company would actually toss the rock around the yard a little bit and keep up with Miami, or at least get garbage points to get within 10. But that did not happen. Miami dominated from start to finish. Tyreek is on a terror. I mean, just wow. He's going to hit 2K, dude. He's going to do it. Yeah. He proclaimed it. He's going to do it. That's crazy.
One of my points of this game was the fact that the Commanders give up an average of 31 points per game, and I said that the Dolphins are going to continue beating up on bad teams, and they did just that.
Yep.
Man, and Mostert too, man. Like, also, it's that old bird, man. He's still balling out, but I mean, he had one touchdown, 11 for 43. Devon Achane.
Yeah, your boy Achane showed up and showed out.
Yeah, but he's injured again.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I mean, that was his knock coming out of college, is like the dude just can never stay healthy. It's like,
was it
high risk, high reward? But I mean, this game was just pathetic, man. You have so much talent at the wide receiver position for Washington, and they just like don't know how to use it. I don't get it. You have Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, Dynami Brown. Like, you also have Logan Thomas at tight end. It's like, it's like, what are you doing? I just don't get it. I'm frankly kind of shocked at how good the Miami defense is, especially after losing Jalen Phillips. Like, I understand Washington's a bad team, and like, they beat up on them, but I didn't expect that kind of domination today. I figured the Commanders would be competitive for up until halftime, maybe at most, and then Miami was just gonna, Corvette them, and then Miami would pull off, and then Washington would get a late score to bring it within the line, but did not happen.
Yeah, man. I would kill to just have, like, as a Steelers fan, just one quarter that scores 17 points. That'd be pretty cool.
Right? Lions got 21 points today within 8 minutes. That's wild.
I think So I said that Achan thing. This one doctor, Jesse Morrissey on Twitter, he has it actually pinned, the Devon Achan, and it's from November 30th. So I think there's no Devon Achan injury after this game. So things are looking up for the dude.
Well, that's good.
There was just the injury coming into this game.
Well, unfortunately, speaking of injuries, let's get into the next game here that involves an injury, a pretty fatal one at that, and that is Broncos at the Texans. Tank Dell was lost in this game. Unfortunately, Houston was favored -3.5. We both took that line, and we were both correct. Houston took care of business.
Yeah, I didn't want to be right about that, obviously, but also I want to kind of see the Texans in it.
Yeah, dude. How about CJ Stroud, man, having his little Mahomes moment there, like on the quarterback, the Netflix show Quarterback. It's like that who was that? Singleton for the Broncos. He came unabated to the quarterback essentially, or they called the play dead and smacked CJ Stroud, and CJ got right back up in his place, in his face, helmet to helmet, chest to chest.
And then he got that penalty.
Yeah, man.
He drew that penalty, and he was so disciplined. He drew the penalty that he's like, all right, I'm out.
Dude, he walked away, head bobbing, walking with that swag.
He's like, yeah,
dude,
what's up?
This kid is a dog. I am totally in on CJ Stroud. Yeah. I think he might be one of these guys that's still around in 10 years, man. And we're adding him to lists with the greats, man. He is looking really good. I hope he can stay healthy and has a nice long career that way.
Shout out to Nico Collins, 191 yards that game on 9 receptions. I was debating between Nico Collins and Tank Dell.
Oh, that's funny because I picked up Nico Collins in one of the ESPN leagues this year. This week. I don't know. Actually, let me double check.
Oh, dude, I'm going to be so bummed if you picked him up because the guy I picked up obviously is now done. While you look that up, Russell Wilson, you can't be throwing 3 picks. This game was close, and the Broncos could have won this game. And it wouldn't have been 3 picks. It would have been 2 picks if he didn't throw the pick at the end of the game. But man, the Broncos kept this game. I thought it was going to be more of a shootout. Like they kept this game kind of close, which was somewhat surprising. And nobody has real big stat lines on either team, obviously, except for Nico Collins. Is it our league?
No, I was mistaken. I was on the verge of picking him up, but I didn't want to cut the guy that I would have had to cut to get him. And now looking back, I wish I just did it because now there's no Tank Dell, and I would have the WR1 Nico Collins. I'm sorry, Nico Ballins for the rest.
Is he still there? Who picked him up?
I think he's still there.
I'm gonna go put a waiver claim in.
Well, while you put in a waiver claim, I'll talk about the Broncos here. I mean, I don't know what was up with Russell Wilson here, but there was nothing that could save him today. I don't know what was up. He threw 3 interceptions. Russ looked terrible. I mean, he looked okay in spurts, but it's like this hot streak that they were on. It's like, dude, it's like they flipped the script and went back to looking like the team they were the first few weeks of the season, and I really don't understand it. It was just kind of crazy. Maybe it was just, attributed to the Texans were that good today.
Yeah, the Broncos run had to come to an end. They're good. They're a better team than how they started, like giving up 70-something points to the Dolphins.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, they're not an elite. They're right on par with Texans, I think.
Well, I just kind of thought they'd be able to run the ball a lot better today.
Russell throwing 3 picks is a dagger, man. You can't the fact that this game was this close is amazing. You cannot turn the ball.
Picks, yeah, that kind of shows you that Denver probably should have won that game today.
They threw 3 picks, and then the Texans have a receiver with almost 200 freaking yards. Like the fact that the Texans only have 22 points is surprising.
Yeah,
but I mean, 191 out of 274 CJ Stroud's yards were going to Nico Collins. That's insane. But good. I don't know if does that put the Texans in a playoff spot right now.
That is a good question. I will pull up the NFL playoff picture currently.
I don't think it does. So I think it leaves them right outside of it with the Colts holding the spot because the Colts hold the tiebreaker over the Texans.
Yeah, I believe you are right.
Yeah, they beat him in week 2. Yeah, so the Steelers still hold the number 1.
They're in the number 5 spot. Yeah, Steelers are the 5th seed right
number
now.
Number 1 wild card.
Browns are still in despite losing today.
Yeah, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 7, and 5 teams just sitting right there.
Yeah, say Tech. That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
This is nuts. It's
This
like
is
you look
awesome.
you look at this look at this list, man, and it's like it's like on the bubble. It's like the Texans really should not be there. Like in my opinion, they should be in. The Browns should be out. And then it's like the Bills should not be there. The Bills should be in. The Steelers
should
be
be out.
But we don't do it like college football style where you just get to think your way into who gets in the playoffs. Thank God we do it like
I saw some stat here on Twitter we're like kind of browsing while we're talking here, and I think the Packers have like a 50-something% chance to make the playoffs.
It's crazy, man. After Minnesota lost last week to Chicago, that really breathed a lot of life into our playoff chances. But speaking of playoff chances, let's go to the next game. Yeah, and that is Panthers at Buccaneers. And man, the Buccaneers, they're on the bubble here. They're 5-7. They're in the 10 spot right behind Green Bay. Seattle just lost. They are 9-3. Packers are 8-3. Those are the only two teams above them. So you got the Saints behind them because they own the tiebreaker. Saints are at 9-3. I'm sorry, 5-7 as well.
Yeah, big win here.
Excuse me. I was looking at the opponents' records. Packers are 5-6. Seahawks are now 6-6. So the Bucs are sitting there at 5-7, ready to pounce up.
The Bucs' best chance here is winning their division, and then have a good chance to win their division. Falcons being 6-6, Bucs being 5-7, Saints being 5-7. I think the Bucs kind of control their own destiny here. They play the Saints one more time. I mean, the Bucs and they play the Falcons next week, dude.
Yep.
I mean, this is going to be an awesome race.
This is pretty crazy, Mike Evans man. Both teams that are in the 10 spot in the AFC and the NFC are the two teams that I picked to go get in the playoffs, and that's the Buffalo Bills and Tampa Bay Bucks. I said Buffalo's going to win out and make the playoffs. I said Tampa's going to win their division and make the playoffs.
Yeah, dude. Shout out to Mike Evans for 10 straight 1,000+ yard receiving seasons. This guy is probably one of the best receivers of our generation.
Oh, and hands down, he is.
And he got a little lost early probably in his career with the quarterback carousel down there in Tampa and being irrelevant. And, man, this guy is an absolute stud. We both took this line. It was Bucks -5. They won based off of a pick there at the end of the game.
Well, I mean, honestly, if that game was not a monsoon for the first half, I think Tampa would have put up more points on them because clearly they have the better talent. They got it clicking in the second half against them, and it was clear and obvious that Tampa was the better team, in my opinion.
Shout out to Hubbard. Chuba Hubbard had 2 touchdowns.
First double touchdown game of his career.
Yeah, Bryce Young screwed the pooch on that pick at the end of the game.
I think that touchdown he scored with his legs, I'm gonna say that looked really nice. He showed a little dynamicism right there and athleticism. It was great.
Is dynamicism? I like that word.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's real.
Maybe it's dynamism, but
dynamic.
Yeah, he showed some dynamism or
dynamics,
whatever you want to say. It's one of those two. I know.
I don't know either. I'm confused too. But yeah, this guy is a big question mark if he's going to be an NFL quarterback. Cool, you have legs, but man,
I don't know. His brain works. You can see his brain working. It's just whether or not he can see over the line. Like, I hate to say
unfortunately,
it like that, but it's literally what it is. He's just so small.
That team's in shambles.
Shout out to Rachaad White. Big game for him.
Yeah, if they would have maybe dished him the ball a little more, the game would have been a little further separated.
Exactly.
Because he had some big runs. All right, next we have Browns at Rams. Thank God after the Steelers' disastrous day that the Rams came through and covered the line that we both took.
Yeah, real quick, I just want to shout out Rachaad White. 20 carries for 84 yards and a touchdown. Plus, he also had he had no receiving. Never mind.
Yeah,
he had 3 catches for 22 yards in the receiving game as well. So he put up over 100 total scrimmage yards and a touchdown.
Underrated dude.
He is, man. Going into this game, he was RB9 on the year. I'll be interested to see where he finishes after this week now in the fantasy rankings. But continue on. Sorry.
Yeah, so going back to the Browns at Rams, Joey Flacco looked phenomenal. He threw some nice balls. He's probably the best quarterback. This is one of the better games offensively that the Browns have had, even though they scored 19. Flacco really messed up throwing a pick there at the end to give themselves a chance, which kind of blew the game open. The 36-19 score is not at all reflecting on how close that game was to the end.
Joe Flacco
So,
had them in that game. And I mean, I don't know. Joe Flacco playing that well, I feel like somebody's going to lose their job in the Jets organization because of that. Like, somebody clearly looked at him and they
like,
thought
nah,
about
he's
it as an
done.
option and they were like, nah, we're good. And it's like, dude, the Jets are I would put money on it that the Jets would be in the playoff hunt right now, if not already in a spot, if they would have went and got Joe Flacco
Yeah, that AFC's
week
open,
after
man.
that A-Rod went down.
Well, I mean, look at the two. You look at the Browns and you look at the Steelers. They're holding the 2 wild card spots.
Yep.
They're not holding them because of their offense. They're
No,
holding them
definitely
because of their
not.
defense. And their offense is just a little bit better than a really bad Jets offense.
I was talking smack that the Browns probably weren't going to make the playoffs, like literally on the last episode. And it's like,
Now it looks nice.
Now I think they're going to make the playoffs if Joe Flacco can stay upright.
Yeah, that loss kind of stinks for them. Obviously, I'm not mad about it. I do not like the Cleveland Browns at all.
Yeah.
But Matthew Stafford, Puka Nacua, that dude coming back after just slamming his body down on the ground. Dude, I mean, they shot him up with some good juice to get him back out there, baby. Like, woo.
Yeah, going back to the Browns here with that loss hurting them, like, yeah, it does hurt, but they got a pretty manageable schedule here. Like, they should have beat the Rams, but they play the Jaguars, which can be a tough game. But then they get the Bears. They play Houston, which will be pretty tough. Then they get the Jets, which
tough.
Who knows if Aaron Rodgers,
if
Aaron Rodgers is going to be back, that's going to be a really tough game. But if he's not back, I expect the Browns to roll in that game because the Jets will have nothing to play for. And then they play the Bengals the last week of the year. And but Cincinnati without Joe Burrow is really not threatening at all. So they really just kind of got to worry about the Jaguars and the other team I just mentioned.
If they lose to the Jags and Texans, they're not making the playoffs.
Yeah, sorry, I just closed out the tab.
The Texans are going to take their spot if they lose to the Texans.
I think they can only afford to lose one more game, and that's probably going to have to be to the Jags, and that's going to be cutting it close.
Yeah, I think them. I mean, it's going to be between them and the Steelers here of one other team making it out of the AFC North. I don't think both of them are making it out.
Well, we'll see how bad Kenny's injury is because if Kenny has to miss extended time, I don't think you guys are getting in. Like, that's a sad thought. But yeah, I didn't mean to take any joy away from your life right there.
No, I don't.
If Kenny ain't there, I don't like it.
I want to see the Steelers making progress and playing good. I don't care if do I want to make the playoffs? Yeah. But I'd rather see some real progress and like having him out this game and the way they played. It's just like that's the real dagger. I don't care that they lost. They're not winning a Super Bowl this year. What bothers me is not getting to see progression and progress with Kenny Pickett. And that's what's really annoying. And he's been injured way too much.
I get you. But let's move on here to the next game. We got 49ers at Eagles. And San Fran was favored by 3. And, man, we should have took that line. But, hey, I did
take that line, and I changed it in the middle of the show.
And then I convinced you otherwise. You admitted to me that I convinced you, even though you denied it while we were on the show here. But that's all right. I took the Eagles, and I have no regrets. I would take them again when they meet again in the playoffs.
49ers are better.
I think the Eagles were coming off a very short week, and they were on the field for like 90-something snaps the week before. Their defense was. That's a lot to ask against a fully healthy 49ers team. I mean, that's just kind of a tough ask. I think if Jalen didn't have to leave also for basically a possession, that would have helped their cause. But hey, you know what? 49ers showed up and showed out, man. Like, I got to give them the credit. They look dialed in. They look good. Shanahan called a great game, and they were firing on all cylinders, man. Props to the Niners as much as I hate them.
Brock Purdy's a stud. All their receivers are studs.
Yep.
The 49ers are completely stacked.
It's ridiculous how good the game is.
If they meet in the playoffs, there's no way the game is like this. I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
But, man, that's a 50-50. That's a 50-50 coin toss.
Yep.
Like,
I certainly don't agree with the fact that like when I said that the Eagles did it once and they'll do it again, I just meant the fact that they beat the Niners. Like I said before, I didn't think this was going to be a blowout on either side. I'm a little surprised to see that the Niners got that far out on them, but hey, it is what it is. But let's move on to the next game here. Chiefs at Packers, which is literally about to kick off here. It is currently 7:15 p.m. Central Time. And I forgot to give my take on Jordan Love on the last episode, and I want to say it now before the game kicks off. Last episode, I wanted to get around to saying when we were talking about the Packers that Jordan Love has officially moved off of my trash can list. He is now on the cancer list because he is a tumor, and he is growing on me. Jordan Love, I don't know. I don't know right now. I don't think right now that he will be the guy to ever bring us a Lombardi. Maybe if the team is uber stacked around him, similar to a 49er style, he could do it. But other than that, like I like what I'm seeing, but I just need to see more before I'm ready to think he can bring me a Lombardi. I mean, I'm happy that I'm changing my opinion. I'm happy that I'm wrong on this. I hope to be even further wrong and watch him bring us a freaking Lombardi, man. I would be ecstatic because the kid has all the physical tools. You can see it.
Mm-hmm.
And for me personally, the last 2 weeks, especially from what I've seen on his tape, watching it again, he's really turned a corner mentally. And I just want to see if he can keep taking the next step because, man, he's got the arm to do it. He's got the legs to stay mobile and stay upright. He's strong. He's big. Like, you know what I mean? We don't got to worry about a Bryce Young situation with this dude. So I'm hoping to see a really good game here out of the Packers. I think it's going to be really tight knit, tight fought, kind of an ugly game, lower scoring, like 21-17, 24-21, something like that here. And honestly, it's a coin flip for me right now. I'm kind of, I still haven't made my pick. I'm going to kind of make my pick as we
so we got a couple minutes here till our recording
ends. I'm gonna let you give your pick.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything you're saying. I've been on the give Jordan Love time thing.
You have.
I've been a little impatient. Time. I think that this game's going to be close. I really hate all the injuries of all the studs in the Packers not giving themselves a good chance to have a really competitive game. Jair Alexander being out really hurts. Aaron Jones being out obviously really hurts. A.J. Dillon dealing with some injuries, but he's playing, also really hurts. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to take this line. I think Kansas City wins this game. I want to be wrong. We both picked our lines.
I still sticking with the line, but I don't know who I think is going to win straight up. I still don't think that whoever wins by 6, but I think it's
I think it's going to be close. I think that Kansas City wins, but I hope we're both wrong. And actually, we would both be right taking that line. But I agree with everything you said, man. I don't know if the Packers are an organization that's going to put studs around them. They're not a destination where free agents want to go.
Yeah, it's hard, man. It's hard to get free agents here.
Yeah, dude. I guess one last game we have to talk about here, since we're both sticking with no.
Honestly, I'm going to stick with the Chiefs to pull this out also. Not only am I not taking the line, but I do think the Chiefs win it outright. I just think Mahomes is going to make that Mahomes play at the end of the game, and I'm going to be sitting there disappointed, staring at my TV with that blank look on my face.
So next game we got is Bengals at Jaguars tomorrow night.
That is tomorrow night.
Jags minus 9.5. I'm going to take that line. The Bengals aren't good. They don't have a quarterback. They can have T. Higgins back. They can have whatever they want back. Unfortunately, the Jags need the win, and I think they're going to take the win, and they're at home.
I'm with you. I agree with everything you just said right there. Smash that Jags line for me. I think Jags dominate, get a huge confidence win here, rolling into this playoff push. So
let's go.
With that being said, we're going to skedaddle, everybody. We got a Packer game to watch.
We got football to watch, baby.
So have a great week, everybody. See you on the next episode. Take care.
Go, Pack, go.